some messages here.
You know, it's funny. I actually almost used a Gary V quote instead of the one that I used from Jordan, and I'm not even kidding. And I think he's a huge inspiration to the folks out there that are a little bit weary about putting themselves out there, because he is a completely transparent individual.
Yeah.
He does take some backlash for it, but that's going to always come with the territory. Anytime you are your true self, you're going to always get some backlash. But
Yep.
Gary Vee is a perfect example and a testament of authenticity and getting an audience to rally behind you because of that authenticity. Huge fan of Gary.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I brought it up. It just came to mind. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And now let's move a little bit around the table to our second panelist, welcoming back Julio Viscovich. If you want to look him up, Viskovich, and that's part of his Twitter handle, Julio Visco, Visko. That's very clever, Julio. And he has sent us a quote from Confucius, 551 to 479 BC. They counted from the big numbers down to the smaller numbers in BC. I always have to get used to that. He was a Chinese teacher, an editor, politician, and philosopher of the spring and autumn period of Chinese history, and his philosophy is known as Confucianism. He emphasized personal and governmental morality, correctness of social relationships. There we go, Julia. That's applicable. He wasn't thinking about the social relationships we have today online. We didn't know about that. Justice and sincerity. There's that sincerity, authenticity. So the quote is, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." Julio, how are you?
I am excellent, Bonnie. Thank you for having me back on the show.
We are delighted to have you back. Tell me, first of all, what do you do? I'm going to go later into your bio, but tell me about what you do at Next Level Sales. I want to put your title in here. Founder, CEO?
Yeah, founder.
Okay, I like that. Good. Now, talk to me about this quote. It reminds me a little bit of the Jordan Belfort quote that Mark Lottenero just shared with us. And I know you two didn't get together and say, oh, let's pick quotes that are similar. So tell me how you picked this one, and what does it have to do with video?
Well, it has to do with video and the fact that it's something new, right? I think as a salesperson, we're so used to, the same old, sending emails, making cold calls, doing things without putting our face in front of the customer, and getting someone to jump on video is asking them to do something completely different. It's, an entrepreneurial thought process where, we're going to try something new. We're going to put ourselves out there, and there's a good chance that it's not going to be a one-and-done video. The first time you actually make a video, you're probably going to fall a few times. You're going to have to do a couple outtakes. You're going to try it a few times until you finally are happy with it. And I think that's one of the most difficult things making video is turning your camera lens into your prospect. And actually, letting it loose a little bit and actually talking to your prospect by name while looking into a camera lens. And that's something that not everybody's going to be used to. And it's going to be perhaps a little funky when you first try it out. But at the end of the day, whether you fall down, you have a few outtakes, your first videos aren't going to be perfect. But the most important thing is that you're persistent about it and you understand that it's going to work. And I think today we're going to talk about why it's going to work, and hopefully we make everyone feel comfortable about trying out video. And if you do fail and you do fall, it's about being persistent, getting back up, trying it again, and ultimately it's going to pay itself off in your commissions.
Thank you. So well put, Julio. And it reminded me, I mentioned that I now tape my cable TV shows in a home studio I created here in my new home in Durham, North Carolina, as opposed to the 4-camera studio I used in New York, because they didn't have anything like that where I am. The People's Channel here is not set up that way. And so I bit the bullet, invested in a Mevo camera with the boost, and it's run on an iPad, the whole thing, and my director uses his fingers to change the scenes and move the scene around, and we have a whole light board and an audio board. But what I wanted to say was, I give instructions to my guests. And just like the radio show where we're not scripted here, I just do a free-fall conversation rather than a Q&A prepared scripted interview. And I find that the authenticity of my guest, Julio, I just find ways to bring them out and get them excited. And when they smile or they get excited about the topic and talk to me and the camera, it's wonderful rather than them sitting, let me read my notes. But, Julio, what I wanted to say, and to Mark also, is that I tell my guests, if you say something you don't want or you mess up, we're just going to keep rolling, but just say, hey, stop, I don't want to do that. We just keep rolling, and then I edit it out, which brings me to there is some really good free editing software as well. I use iMovie, and I put in transitions, I add things in, I take things out. Julio, do you believe in using video editing software if something isn't quite exactly the way you want when you recorded it?
Absolutely. I mean, things happen, right? Oftentimes you may even forget to turn your ringer off on your phone or something, and then all of a sudden it goes off right in the middle of an idea as you're getting it across. So I think the most important thing is just keep going. Avoid the stops and starts as much as possible. Keep going and get it all out there, and you can always edit it out, in the future. So use those transitions and make yourself look good. But again, I think you're bang on there is just make sure that you just keep going, because it's very difficult to jump back and forth between your thought processes. So for me, I highly recommend what you mentioned is just keep going, edit it out later, use transitions. It's never been easier to use really user-friendly softwares now that allow you to do a good job editing, and iMovie is a great example.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just doing a little case study here. And now our third panelist, she has so much great information for us. We're delighted to welcome back Alexandra Witta. And Alexandra has sent us a beautiful quote from Maya Angelou, not the one we usually get from our panelists. Maya Angelou, born Marguerite Annie Johnson, 1928 to 2014, was an American poet, singer, memoirist, and civil rights activist. She published only 7 autobiographies. I don't know how many people even do more than one. She had 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and she is credited with plays, movies, and TV shows over a half century. That's 50 years. She received more than 50 honorary degrees, and she's most famous for her first autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, published in 1969. So here is the beautiful quote, and that was of her life up to the age of 17. Here is the quote Alexandra has selected from Maya Angelou. Listen up. If you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. Alexandra, welcome back. I love the quote. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks, Bonnie. I love to be on your show again. And how are you doing today?
Well, it's very kind of you to ask. I'm very excited. I've already hosted 2 webinars, and this is my first of 2 radio shows. So this is the authentic me, very excited to be doing what I do. And I love the authenticity of speaking to you, Alexandra, and Mark and Julia on live radio, because this is who we are. This is what's on our mind. So tell me about this. The quote took me by surprise, Alexandra. Trying to be normal, you'll never know how amazing you can be. Let's relate that to the concept of making videos in-house with your own people in your company. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I chose the quote because I think it's very inspiring, and I also chose it because it serves as a reminder for myself, because I need to constantly push myself to to look for the next big thing that makes communication more engaging and more exciting, because video now has become so normal to me that I'm already looking for the next thing with video, like interactive video, or how we can improve the live stream experience. So I think, 3 years ago, for instance, I talked about putting your own videos on LinkedIn, and I hardly saw anyone doing this. But today, this has become very standard. So I think we constantly need to push ourselves to look for the next communication method. And this is why I chose the quote. And I'm probably also going to hang it up on my wall so that I will always push myself every day to look for something new.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad you mentioned that. I just looked up LinkedIn and videos, and there is actually a LinkedIn video here called How to Embed Video into LinkedIn with the full instructions. There are a lot of posts on YouTube on exactly how to do it. So it's very much considered something that couldn't be done. Now, Alexandra, I want you to define normal versus amazing. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that quote. What's your thought?
Yeah, I think normal is hopefully that people are not using just their smartphones or their email to communicate with prospects and customers, but that they also use video communication. And if you want to be amazing, then you are either using video in another way or in a new way, or you try new ways to combine video with other means of communication. So I think it's also about how you leverage the technology that is out there. For instance, this year, we covered 7 of our events via self-recorded videos. And there were some events where we collected our first experience doing that. And I still remember one event where my colleague just took the 360 camera, plugged it onto his phone, and did a 360 live booth tour. And that was the first 360 video that he ever did in his life, right? And he just went for it. And this is the spirit that I love, and
wow.
This is what I can only encourage everyone to do.
I'm flabbergasted. That is really something. And when you're live streaming is even a scarier aspect. I have the option of live streaming my TV shows, but I'd rather have the opportunity to look at them and make those transitions I was discussing with Julio. And I also, here's something interesting that I do. I don't know if it's appropriate in business videos. I listen to what my guests say, and I write in a crawl underneath that goes across the screen from right to left, bits and pieces of the conversation or their words of wisdom on whatever the topic of our discussion is, so that I've added a piece of visual interest to just listening to somebody talk and watching somebody talk. And I find it makes it a little more like a news show and makes it very interesting to see the crawl. And I do it every couple of minutes, not all the time, so that you get to concentrate on the conversation. Then you get to see this call out, if you will, of what was important for me as the host and producer, what I think is memorable as a takeaway from my guests. Do you ever encourage people to do that in editing, Alexandra, to put a crawl or to post a call out from the conversation?
I actually never thought about that. I only preach that, so far I've preached that people should write a compelling description to their video, and that when they send a video message to a prospect or customer, that this text that they add to their video is very personalized, so that the customer prospect doesn't have the impression that it's spam. So everything should be personalized. Even the video, even though you produce a video, it still sounds like spam if you don't personalize it. So this is what I preach whenever I hold my video trainings, and I hope everyone does it.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. I like what you said. Let's just quickly go around the panel before I get to the where are you, what's in your cup, and what's your role, what do you do at your company. Mark Latenero, agree with what Julio has said, what I added, because it's been a while since we spoke to you. What's it been, 12 minutes? And what Alexandra said about the authenticity, about personalizing, about editing. Go ahead, Mark.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think from an editing standpoint, too, is you use everything that you have access to. If you have software that provides you with editing capabilities, then why wouldn't you use it? However, what I will say is I think there's an important distinction between how much you want to focus on that. And what I mean by that is, from a marketing asset standpoint, if you're creating videos that go on .com or are very specific to marketing campaigns, then you're going to obviously want to edit that to be absolutely perfect. But if these are videos that you're recording from a social selling standpoint, trying to give your audience an understanding of who you are as an individual, edit so the video makes sense, but don't try to make it too perfect. Don't try to make everything absolutely flawless, because that is going to take away from the authenticity. It's going to take away from the personalization aspect of it too as well. And in fact is going to result in your audience not really knowing truly what your personality is like or who you are. It's going to be a button down, condensed, more professional version. So editing is excellent. Use it when it makes the most sense. But I think just, in the big picture, Bonnie, I think everyone had excellent points in terms of putting yourself out there. Don't be afraid to fail. If you do fail, which is going to happen, don't be afraid to just get up, dust yourself off, and just keep going. Everybody is going to face some shortcomings and some roadblocks, as in any other aspect of our daily lives, right? So why should trying something new be any different? So love what Alexandra and Julio had to say. And I'm excited to continue this conversation.
Thank you. You're very kind. And I will tell you that when I edit my TV shows, there's no attempt at perfection. All I'm trying to do is if there was an awkward moment or if somebody said, stop, I didn't want to say that, I just pull out a little tiny clip and I just connect with a nice little blur transition and it goes into the next part of the conversation. And it's really fun for me to look at what was said, because when I'm hosting, I'm not exactly sure. I know what I say and what they say, but I don't have that audience view. It's really fun to see how it turned out and look at it. And I sometimes, if a shot wasn't really good, I'll overlay it with some photos that the guest has sent me just on top, so you hear their voice and then you see a little bit of a montage. It really makes it fun. I'll send you all a link to my Vimeo channel. You can take a look at some of the shows. I think you'll enjoy them. And now, Julio, what are your thoughts about specifically what Alexandra added?
Yeah, I think it's very much on point. I always think of, like, when I think of authentic videos, for whatever reason, I think of the movie Blair Witch Project that came out about 15 or 20 years ago, where essentially it was a horror movie and they filmed it point of view with a camcorder in the woods. And that's why it was so popular, because it was different, it was authentic, it was not polished like you would typically find in a normal Hollywood blockbuster hit. And I think that kind of parlays itself into social selling as well. I think you do have to be authentic and not look to drive perfection in every single video. It's about the message. It's about letting people sit down at a table with you, even though the geographic barriers or time zones might be constraining that. So I think the more you can strive for that type of situation, I think the better off you're going to be in using your videos and the more impactful they're going to be on the potential prospect.
Thank you very much. And now, you know what? Since we just went around the table back to Mark and Julio, I'm going to start off with where are you today? What do you love to drink? And what's your role? We already know a little bit about you, Alexandra, but why don't you start us off? Where are you? I know you called into us from somewhere. I don't think you're in the U.S. today. What's your favorite drink that powers you to be so savvy about helping people make great marketing videos, Alexandra? And bring us up to date on what you do.
Yeah, thanks so much. So I'm calling in from Germany. On the first show, I still lived in Berlin, but now I live close to Munich, which makes me a frequent visitor to the Oktoberfest. And I drink Schorle. It's a German word for a drink that you can make yourself, no matter where you are in this world. You just need to fill your cup with about 3/4 sparkling water, and then you add any kind of fruit juice that you like. And to me, this is such a normal drink, but to my American colleagues and to my colleague who is in Australia, this is something that they don't know, which is completely new to them. And when they visited me in Germany this year, they always ordered Schorle. And then they said, oh, they order Schorle because they can't get it in Australia. And I was like, what are you talking about? You can make it yourself. Everyone can who's now listening to this show. And yeah, it's a very delicious drink. And what I do, well, I work with sales and pre-sales at SAP, and I help them to understand the power of using video on social media to engage with their prospects and customers. And I don't only convince them that they should focus on social video, I also train them on how they can look at their best in a video and how they can incorporate the do's and leave out the don'ts that make social videos so great. And furthermore, I started working with marketing this year because we realized that if we record marketing videos ourselves in marketing, we can save more than 20K per event, and we double the engagement. So we are complete winners if we also create our own videos and marketing.
Very exciting. By the way, please spell the drink for me. You know I love to Google what the drinks are, and I've never heard of this before. How do you spell Schorle?
Yes, SCHORLE.
Never in a million years would I have guessed that. I tried 5 different permutations on it. Okay, let's see. Yes, I have one called Apple Saft Schorle, sparkling apple juice, empty undiluted frozen apple juice into a decorative pitcher. It's important to have a decorative pitcher. Or 2 quarts serving carafe, filled juice container with club soda 3 times, pour into the pitcher, stir well, and served in a fluted champagne glass. Is that it? It's a spritzer, right? It's a spritzer.
Yeah, I mean, your description sounds like as if it was a very fancy drink, but we usually drink it in just a normal glass, and it's not a fancy drink for us. It's more something that kids drink or adults who love the drink just like me. Yeah.
Thank you. I think I make it with orange juice and seltzer, which is just an orange juice spritzer. It's very, very delightful. Thank you, Alexandra. Let's go around the table to Mark Lotenero. Mark, where are you calling from? What do you love to drink, and what are you doing these days at Grapevine 6?
So I am calling from probably just a 4-hour drive from you, Bonnie, over in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Yep. Hello. And, been here for about 3 years. So the company is actually headquartered in Toronto, Canada. And what's in my cup today? So just to have little, something more exciting to highlight on this call, instead of just saying I'm having my normal everyday coffee, what I've been doing this week is instead of putting cream and sugar in my coffee, I'm putting butter in my coffee.
Oh, is this bulletproof coffee? Are you doing the bulletproof?
So, there's different ways to pinpoint exactly what it is. It's part of keto, which I'm actually not doing, but I read a lot of interesting articles about how adding that, it slows down, it reduces your chances of having jitters. It keeps you fuller longer. It speeds up your metabolism a little bit. So it sounds strange. It sounds kind of gross, if anything, a little bit, throwing a chunk of butter in your coffee. But I think it makes it taste better. I haven't had any jitters so far this morning like I typically do with regular coffee. So I think I may continue on to try that here for a little bit.
Very interesting. Now, is that the same thing as bulletproof coffee, which uses grass-fed butter and motor oil, they call it, and all kinds of interesting things? Bulletproof coffee, or is this just coffee with butter?
Yeah. Fine. So, Vinesh, I hope you guys can able to
I can't really speak to bulletproof coffee.
So, I have
heard of that before, but I'm not quite sure about the details.
Suppose this is my company. So, my company is always runs on the OLTP system, online transaction process, in which I can use SQL software, I can use Oracle database, I can use any SAP softwares. So when end user enters the records, the record will goes to expert of the database. It may be SAP or non-SAPs. Like so. So here is my client. So client needs a it's done.
Yeah.
Fine. So we'll just I hope you see my screen. So we just directly go with what's the HANA exam. Suppose this is my company. So my company is always runs on the OLTP system, online transaction process, in which I can use SQL software, I can use Oracle database, I can use any SAP softwares. So when end user enters the records, the record will goes to expert of the database. It may be SAP or non-SAPs. Like so. So here is my client. So client needs a business status so that he can analyze his business properly, and he'll take some decision on a business. So you need some reports to take a business like decision. You need some reports. If company will create a report on this OLTP, which has a current data, so company will not analyze the data properly. That's why company are maintaining a separate data warehousing concept called OLAP system, OLAP system, in which the records are constant forever. We can store data permanently. We call as historical data. So we are just moving the record from OLTP to OLAP by using some ETL tool. Okay, and once the record are placed in this OLTP, based on these records, we are getting a report on the BU or BW or BEX queries. This is what we are doing in the real time right now. So here, in both the cases, the records are stored in a hard drive. And if you talk about here, it's a database concept and it's a data warehousing concept. Both of them, the records are stored in the hard drive, and it's a more this one. So this is what we are doing in real time right now. So here we have some lot of disadvantages. Like, see, the client has to maintain the OLTP and OLAP separately, so maintenance cost is very high. Okay, and again the client has to buy the license for the ETL tool to move the record from OLTP to OLAP. Again, it's very costly. And both of them, the records are stored in the hard drive. In hard drive, the records are stored in a raw storage. Like, here's my customer ID 01. He ordered some plastic of 2 kgs. He's named some Raj. Then we have one more customer ID 02. He ordered some silver of 1 kg. Again, he is named some Raj. Then we have one more customer ID 03. He ordered some plastic of 1 kg. Again, he is named Samraj. In real time, the names are duplicate, but ID should be unique. Okay. Suppose I have some 3 lakhs record in which 30,000 times the name repeating Raj. Okay. So we need to store 30,000 times of the Raj. So if the Raj occupies 3 bytes, we have to store 30,000 into 3 bytes of data we have to store, which occupies around 90,000 bytes will occupy in the hard drive. Okay, this is the hard drive. So it occupies more space. This is all disadvantages. Maintenance cost is very high. The client has to buy ETL tool. Again, it occupies more space, which requires a lot of space. So it's all disadvantages. So to avoid, because in case of here OLTP it's a SAP EC server, and here it's a SAP BW server. Okay, both of them the records are stored in the, or actually it's a hard drive. And to avoid all this stuff, we got a HANA picture. Now we'll see what's HANA exactly. This is my HANA server. So this is my HANA box. This HANA has a combination of OLTP plus OLAP. As HANA is a combination of OLTP plus OLAP, client will not to maintain the two servers individually. So we can reduce the maintenance cost. As we are not maintaining two servers individually, we don't require any ETL tool also. So we can reduce the cost cutting at buying the ETL tool also. And in HANA, we have a inbuilt calculation engine. It can perform the all runtime and DB calculations. Is advantage of HANA. And one more major advantage of HANA is the records are not stored in the hard drive. The records are stored in the RAM. So as you know, RAM is very fast. So when you create a report on this RAM, it increases the speed while fetching the data. When the speed is increased, performance also increase. So most of companies right now they're looking for performance, which is given by the HANA itself. It's also increases space capacity. HANA also increases space capacity. How? In HANA, the records are stored in the column storage, not the row storage. Like 01, 02, 03, another one column. Then we have plastic and silver. Again, the plastic is repeating twice, but in column storage in HANA, the repeated value are not stored. So we can save this extra space here. Similarly, we have a quantity. We have 2 kgs and 1 kg. Again, the 1 kg is repeating, but in column storage we don't store the repeated value. We can save the extra space. Again, in case of name, Raj is repeating 3 times, but we don't store all the Rajas. We store single Raj, which occupies very less space. Like that. Okay, 1 second. Sorry guys. So here, so here in what happening here? Suppose I have some 3 lakhs records. Under 3 lakhs, if I have 30,000 times the name putting Raj, but in this console we are not storing all the Rajas. We are storing only single Raj, which occupies just a 3 bytes. So we can avoid around 89,997 bytes we can avoid. So think of in real time how much space we can avoid. Okay, this is a major advantage of HANA. But if you maybe get a doubt, like if I need a record of 03, then how to again rectify? Thing is that here we don't store the actual value of Raj, but we store the reference value of the previous one. We can store pointer because the Raj is already saved and it's anyways a duplicate value. So instead of storing the original value, we store the pointer, the reference value of this Raj for it because both values are same. So reference will not occupy much more space. It occupies only 1 byte. If you show the Raj, it occupies 3 bytes. If you show the reference, it shows only 1 byte. So by this, we can save more space. Okay, this is the major advantage of HANA and the databases which are using in real time right now. Okay, it's my OLTP available. So clear? It's a main advantage.
Yes.
Now we'll see what's HANA exactly. So when you talk about the HANA here, so HANA is a high performance, it's analytical appliance. We also call it it's a in memory. Why? Because the records are stored in the database, so we call it in-memory database concept. The records are stored in the RAM. In this HANA, we have a 3 concept. One is HANA Studio. It's a GUI. Okay, it's an irregular of GUI, graphical user interface. Maybe if you have because in AS we have the SAP screen, right? We need to go with the different T codes, transaction codes in order to move from one T code one screen to the screen. But in HANA, there is no such T codes are available. We have only one application tool that's called HANA Studio. We will work on all the activities on the stuff only. And this studio will connect to HANA client. It's an interface software which is a ODBC, and it is connected to HANA server. And this server supports only SUSE Linux only. It supports only SUSE, not only Ubuntu, not only Fedora, all the stuff. It supports only a SUSE Linux till now, which is of level 0.3 version. And we because as I told you earlier, HANA will the records are stored in the RAM, so we have 1 TB capacity of RAM size to 250 capacity of RAM size, and this is provided by Dell company. Dell is providing this. Dell Inc. is providing the hard drive support. Okay, so will this studio and the client will support any OS. It supports Windows 8.1, Windows 8, any OS. So we'll install on any OS, but server will be installed only on SUSE Linux on separate machine. So we'll connect client to server with the ODBC drivers, and we'll connect the studio to client with the add machine. Once the setup is ready, so has a HANA will work on this activity. So we have different things. So we'll work on the modeling. In modeling, we learn about the schema creation, table creation in database, the fields creation in tables, creating a views, loading the data in the tables, as well as we have advanced HANA also, like we call as attribute view. So we create attribute view time based. So time based attribute view, how to create all the stuff, as well as we create analytical view, we create calculation view, and we create attribute hierarchy also. So we learn all this stuff practically. And in HANA, we tried some SQL codes, a basic SQL codes at procedure level, sequence level, trigger level, and synonym. Okay, and decision table. This will look on here. So with this, HANA is a new technology. So most of companies they want to do migration because they suppose my company is using Oracle software right now. They want to migrate to HANA. So we'll learn the extraction and migration also. I'll show you the practically how to migrate, how to extract the data from here. So I'll show you how to extract the SQL data into HANA side. Okay, as well as SAP ECC server to HANA side, SAP BW data to HANA side. Okay, as well as this part. One second. Sorry guys. So here we learn all the stuff extraction. I will show you the each and everything like a migration practically, and I will show you how to migrate the flat file data into HANA. So this migration will take place at two types. One is directly we can do migration, which is the help of SLT, SAP Landscape Transformation, RFC Remote Function Call, DXE Direct Extractor. We can learn the indirect extraction also. Indirectly we can extract this data, like with the help of BODS, Business Object Data Services. With this, we learn about the reporting environment on the BO side. Okay, a sample how to get a report on the table based, view based. With this, we learn about the security type. So security. So like how to get a user creation, the role creation, the different types of rights assignment. Okay, we have 7 types of rights like system level rights, package level rights, application level rights. All the stuff we can learn in this stuff. With this we'll learn some administration tools like how to take a backup creation, how to take a recovery of a HANA system, and how to transport the object, because once you done the project we need to transfer the object. So we learn about the how to transport the object from development to quality to production. Okay, with this we learn about the HANA commands. Okay, in some other admin tools we learn here. I'll show you the course content how it look like, so you get some idea. So we start from today the SAP HANA system. So as you know, HANA is a high performance, it's analytical appliance. So here we also call it in-memory database concept. Okay, you can see here the screen. So we have this one, all the stuff. So here I'll just show you the HANA introduction, the computing in memory.
Okay,
Okay,
so
the
last
comparing
section
with
we
the
done with
ECC,
the
BW, what the main
schematic.
difference between HANA and the ECC and BW, the complete architecture of HANA, as well as the complete architecture of HANA
We
in
the
the old
schema
region,
creation. Do we
row
also the
storage,
create
column
file
storage,
tables?
okay, all this stuff. And we learn about the modeling, HANA Studio modeling,
And
attributes, level
we
objects,
load
all the
some
different types
data
of views, hierarchies,
from
export and import
local file
options.
system,
Advanced modeling, we learn about the calculation views,
CSV files.
functions, expressions, procedures, C case, all the stuff. So with this,
Even
we'll learn about
we
the
load the
HANA
data with
database
small
also,
string
the
tables.
client component loading process, the architecture, and the security will learn
Because
user
we
creation,
help.
roles creations, assigning of different types of privileges, user administrations,
So this is what we
and we learn about the PODs
and
HANA,
we also
like
saw a
it's
topic
called
called view
indirect
concept.
extraction,
So what a
with
view
the
concept
ODB
exactly?
options, the new one,
So
which
it's
is
a
the
combination
combination
of
of
multiple
with the
tables.
different options. We learn about the SLT also, the data extractor,
Can you
SLT
please
options,
turn up
and
the
BW
volume?
HANA also. The different
So we'll
options we learn,
join
and we learn about the reporting
What is
last,
it?
how to generate report on the HANA table, HANA views. And I'll give you a number of lab exercises for practice, so you get a full of hands-on experience. So anyways, it's an online section. You can do the recording every day, and you can watch the recording every day for practicing, and the recording will be with you from lifetime, so you can prove anytime. And we'll provide you on our online survey access, so to your practice. Okay, so it's a 24/7 online survey access. You can practice from anywhere. So this is what we do have here, the different things here. Okay, so this is about the HANA. So do you have any queries on this HANA? Because it's a basic introduction, so I'll give you a basic introduction, a brief idea about the HANA, the main components of HANA, and the difference between the HANA and the different races. Okay. Once we start the classes, we'll learn each and every component, the architecture, each and everything about the HANA. So you get a clear picture idea about the HANA. So and HANA is a new technology for you. So most of companies they are looking for HANA only. So maybe even the job opportunity also is very good in HANA also. So
Okay.
we
Yes,
start
sir.
from today the SAP
I
HANA
have
system.
some quick questions for
So
you.
as you know, HANA is
Uh, Coming to marketing SAP HANA,
a high performance.
what type of job roles? As far as I know,
It's analytical
there are like 3 or 4 parts in HANA, like implementation
appliance.
and modeling, programming on
So
HANA, and
here we
BW.
also call it in-memory database concept.
Like
Why?
where will we be sitting exactly on learning this?
See, So first we will go with the implementation and developer. Okay, somebody calls implementation, somebody calls developer, somebody calls modeler also. These
Modeler, yeah.
three all comes in the same as we are learning the same thing. So modeling here, okay. Complete
Okay.
implementation. This course content will be valid for implementation, developer or modeler is common, as well as some part
Okay.
of administration also, because we are discussing some part of administration part also here. So it's also valid for administration, but not all, but some part of things will be valid for the administration. Okay,
Okay.
these things here. So if you learn this course or whatever, so you can apply for implementation, developer role, modeler role, as well as the administration roles also. So it's not issue.
Okay.
And because the new technology, they will not ask you most on the HANA, because HANA just came just recently, just 2 years or 3 years back. So they will focus on, like, they'll ask the questions or very less questions, and they'll expect only at least 1 year experience on HANA. So you can make it any
Uh,
1 year, or 6 months of training experience, or 1 year of fake experience is more than enough. So you can get a job easily. Because it's not
Okay.
a too long. If it is at like 20 years, 30 years back, so we have to need at least 5 years or 6 years experience on this stuff. But we don't require per year. HANA is a very recently, and we have a huge demand and market in this stuff, so you can apply for 1 year experience of no issues.
Okay. So what's a BW on HANA then?
Yeah, BW, when you talk about BW HANA, BW is same thing, but BW data records will stored in the HANA database. Previously, when you talk about BW, we have a Oracle database. Previously, now it's an HANA tools. So BW screen is same, BW application tool is same, like RS7 same T codes, but which is of Oracle database previously. Now it's a HDB database, HDB. The only
Okay.
difference.
HANA data.
That's all. That's the only different. The screens and the rest is same, but we added some extra 2 or 3 concept are new will come, like composite provider, that extra things, hybrid provider, ODP options. That things will be happen new one. That's all. And we learn how to open this analytical views, calculation views in HANA, InfoCube, DSOs. That part. As well as how to open the in BW InfoCubes into HANA side. Okay, like attribute views, calculation views. That's it. Just some small like small difference will be happening in this BW HANA.
Okay.
So these things we have. Yes, Sharad, so do you have any queries?
Uh, I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
So the you talked about the SQL procedures, secrets, triggers.
Yes.
What
Exactly.
is what is a decision table?
Yes, yeah. Decision table also same thing else, but we don't have a SQL code here. The decision table is
Okay.
one which can take a decision system, like system will take a decision on a table whether it want to change some data or not. So we'll just give some
Oh,
condition. Based on the condition, the system will define and it will trigger. It will do the modification
okay.
in the.
It's like a logical
Ah,
table.
exactly, same thing.
Okay.
So without a
Mm,
manual, we can update the data also.
okay. Thank you so much.
So there are things we do have here. So we'll continue the same section like by day same timing, like morning 8 to 9 for us. So for you around 9:30 I think. So that's so if you okay timing, so we'll start the section by tomorrow also. So tomorrow same timing 8 a.m. IST timing.
Okay.
8
I'll.
a.m. I
Yeah. Go
hello.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Uh, 8 a.m. in the morning.
exactly. For me, IST. For you, what is timings?
Oh, okay. It will be like 9:30 the same time.
August time. So it's okay for you? I so like you want another timing like 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
So
of course it is. That is the best time. Actually, since I'm working, so that's the
so
best time for me. And you can ask Hari about his availability.
yeah, sure, definitely, no issue. It's not issue.
Yeah. I'll let you know tomorrow, sir. I'll
Fine,
let you know.
500, yeah,
Me and
fine,
Farid will discuss
yeah,
and I'll let you know.
okay, fine. I'll just
Okay,
stop
thank
So we'll start from today the SAP HANA system. So as you know, HANA is a high performance, it's analytical appliance. So here we also call it in-memory database concept. Why? Because the records are stored in the RAM. That's why we call as in-memory DB concept. So in this HANA we have a three concept which is called HANA Studio, the regular GUI graphical user interface. It will connect it to HANA client, a interface software. The client will connect to HANA server, which is installed on SUSE Linux, supports the RAM database. So we have around 1 TB RAM capacity to 250 TB of RAM capacity, and this hardware will provided by Dell company. Okay, Dell Inc. will providing this hardware setup, and with support to Intel also. So we can install Studio and the client on any machine. This supports Windows 8, Windows 8.1, any machine, as well as the Ubuntu also Linux. But the server will go to install only on Linux system, only on Linux, which of SUSE Linux only. Like even this server is not installed in on an HDB server like we call as Ubuntu, Fedora, it not support. So we'll connect client to Studio client, and the client will connect to server with a option called ODBC, Open Database Connectivity. With the help of Open Database Connectivity, we will try to connect client to server, and the Studio will connect to client with the add system. So once the connection is established, then we'll work on the HANA Studio. Okay. So in real time, what happen? They'll maintain some landscape. So this one server, right? They'll maintain this server has development, quality, and production. Right. Development machine, quality machine, and production machine. So as a developer, will work on this development activities. Once the entire project is done, we'll move the entire project from development to quality for testing. Here it will done the quality for testing purpose. Then once the testing is done, we'll move to a final stage called production system, where the real-time work will go on. Okay? So the real-time user will work on this studio. So they'll get the real-time data. Based on those data, we'll get a report and then send to client. Then the client will see the reports on this diet. This is called a system landscape for SAP HANA system. So we'll transport the object using a option called transport connection or transport manager. With the help of transport manager, we'll transport these options. Which options we'll see in the last because it's a theory class, but we'll see. Okay. So let us discuss on the Studio first. Studio is just a GUI application where the user can interface, interact, and create some systems, create some applications. So we have a different types of versions. So it starts from size pack 1, size pack 1 starts, and we have size pack 7, and we have 6 is the old version. We got size pack 7 to size pack 8 is a middle one, and recently we got size pack 9. So now we are using the size pack 9. Okay. So Studio we are using the size pack 9, and the system, the server we call as HDB, HANA database. We call as HANA database. So the version of HANA database is we are using this 1.x version, which is running on level 0.3 Linux system. Okay. So level 0.3 is Linux system, and DB is a 1.x system, and the Studio is size pack 9. So this is how we have different machines software on this. Now we'll go with a basic. architecture of the studio and the server, how it looks like. Okay. So we'll see the architecture of HANA. So you can see here this is the architecture of HANA. So it is called a HDB server, the database, SUSE Linux, and it is called HANA Studio, the molding part where the application will be installed, and it is called a BO, business objects, where the report will be created on the HANA system. And here it is the EC server, the SAP ECC, it's of Oracle database running on OLTP system. And here it's a BODS, it's an ETL tool. It's called BW, where it is running on OLAP system, it's of Oracle system. Right. So first, let me discuss about this HDB server. This is my HDB server. It's of Linux system. Okay, this is HDB server. So, as a user or end user will send any request. So, there's an any request. The request will go to in-memory computing engine, done by a section manager, processed by request processing, and checked by the SQL parser SQL tip. Once that check has in HANA, the records are stored in the column storage as default, but if you want to store as row, you can also store as row. So based on a requirement, then the record will store in the column storage. From here, it will go to page management. So where the data will be stored temporarily, and there's actually called persistent staging area. We call persistent layer. It is used to check the quality of data. Once the quality is going to check, the logs will generate. That logs will be hold in the logger file. So that logs will hold in the logger file, and ultimate the records will store in the data volume. Okay. Once this entire process is done, the records, the tables are stored in the data volume. This is what we have here. So when you send any request or if you get any table or if you load any data, the record will directly go to will go to from here as a section manager will process by this request process and check by this process scape, and based on the client requirement the record will store column or rows to it, and from here move to page management, and the quality checking will be done by the persistent layer. So logs will generate, that logs will hold in the logger file. From there it will go to data volume. This is what we have here. And as I said previously, HANA is a combination of OLTP plus OLAP. So here the transaction manager will take care of the data. So first day I load entire records up to the date, but from second day onwards the source system is updating because the new record